When I watch this Lakers team play on a game-to-game basis, I slowly find myself believing that this may be LeBron's best team ever. Now, before I get into why and all that stuff, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications. YouTube gets weird with all that stuff, so if you can do that for me really quick, I would really appreciate that. Now, I really want you guys to hear me out when I say this. Obviously, with the extended resume LeBron has had and the multiple teams he's found himself on, this may sound a little hyperbolic or a little bit of an exaggeration only a quarter into the season, but look at what this team has accomplished already. The Lakers right now in 27 games are 24-3. They won a 7-game winning streak earlier in the season, then lost a game, then went to a 10-game winning streak, then lost a game. Now they're on a 7-game winning streak. This team is dominating the whole league. I mean, early in the season where everybody's kind of finding their own groove, all these moving pieces, you may look at it like it's a little bit fluky, but we're almost at Christmas and it's clearly not going away. We've all heard it before, but it's just true. Typically, every LeBron newly assembled team, it takes at least that first month to get their feet wet. That Miami Heat team, the Miami Beatles and all this stuff with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, they started their first 17 games 9-8, and they had plenty of people thinking it may not ever work because the fit looked too clunky. It never looked organic. Then, after all the criticism and after all the backlash, they kind of figured it out and they won the next 12 games and ended up winning 58 games that year. So it typically takes some time. If you look at the Cavaliers team that formed in 2014, they started their first 12 games 5-7, and if you look at LeBron and Kyrie early, they look like your turn, my turn basketball, and you can see they were really trying to figure each other out, and the fit didn't look right. Kevin Love, he looked like he hit a wall, and it was just an ugly fit early. I don't know if y'all remember, but in that season, mid-season, LeBron had to take a 2-week break. He wasn't hurt, none of that. He took a 2-week vacation, went back to Miami just so he can decompress and kind of get his mind right. He probably watched some film. A lot of people speculate he wanted to go take drugs and all that. It is what it is, but he had to do that because the team wasn't gelling. They lost like 6 or 7 games when he was out and all that, but when he came back, they won 12 straight. So my point again, LeBron teams aren't supposed to work this fast. It's just not supposed to happen. Now, why do I think this team specifically is the best team LeBron has probably played on? Well, let's first look at the fit. I've always felt like LeBron has always been and always will be a point guard at heart. That's why he's always been more Magic than MJ. He's not really a big scorer. He doesn't really pride himself on that. Yes, he can do it, but he's best when he's getting everybody else involved, and he gets his when he needs to. Although he can be a scorer because he's just that great, the dude can do everything, I feel like on his previous teams, he was asked to be too Michael Jordan or too Kobe-like. You really can't put Magic Johnson on that 2009 Cavs team and expect much. You can't put Magic on that 2018 Cavs team and expect much because you're not really playing to his specialties. When you're constantly asking someone to do what they really don't want to specialize in and taking away from what they do best, you're not going to get the best results. With this Lakers team, he's basically playing point guard with 3 hyper athletic bigs that can easily get him 50 to 60 points a night. Easy points. With how easy and fluent this offense is, this is why LeBron can play 82 games and probably feel rested. He's probably not going to miss a single game this year, knock on wood, because of the style of this team. Scoring and rebounding and doing all that extra stuff, that's not really a priority. Hence why you see him playing so much better defense this year because he's way more rested. Think about it like this. Every great point guard historically, what have they typically had? A great big they can dump the ball to and get easy buckets and make the offense flow so fluent. John Stockton, Karl Malone, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, even Chris Paul, he had DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. You don't think that helped them out? Every great point guard, they typically have that. I think LeBron has probably been the best point guard for almost 2 decades now. He just never had that dominant big. Me personally, I've never been a big fan of this LeBron finesse teams. I feel like in the Cleveland era, LeBron was kind of playing on a bunch of finesse teams to try to match up with Golden State. They was getting Kyle Korver and all these shooters and pretty much taking away from the bigs, and that's not how LeBron really likes to play. I don't like LeBron taking all these threes and basically trying to dump it out to match Golden State. That kind of takes away from what he does best. Now, with LeBron's much improved three-point shooting, he can use that as more of a weapon rather than kind of relying on it. Back when he was with Cleveland and he drove to the basket, he was looking to do two things. He was either looking to score, draw contact, or give it to the three-point shooters, and that's kind of streaky because if the three-pointers aren't falling, your offense is kind of handicapped. Now when he drives, it's a way higher percentage that he's going to score because he has three things to look forward to. He can either score, pass it to the three-point shooters, or throw an alley-oop to those hyper-athletic bigs, and it's way more fluent. I feel like the biggest difference between this Lakers team versus those Cavaliers teams and all that, back then, three-pointers almost felt like a priority for the Cavs. Like, it was either hit three-pointers or bust. If those threes aren't falling, everybody else looks like trash. Nowadays, threes are almost like a luxury. Like, they don't really need that. And with Anthony Davis and company, as a defense, you're almost always at a mismatch unless you're the Bucks and you have very, very, very long defenders. What makes this Lakers team to me so special, they're not asking players to do stuff that they're not good at. They're not asking Rondo to be a spot-up shooter or do something that he's never done in his career. Back then, LeBron could never play with Rondo on a Cavaliers team because they needed him to hit threes. I remember in 2018, they traded Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, all these players because they felt like they needed floor spacing for LeBron to dump it off for easy threes when they played Golden State. That team was just way too finesse. All of LeBron's quote-unquote star bigs of the past, they were basically glorified role players because they couldn't really be themselves with LeBron. I mean, you can't really ask Kevin Love to be Anthony Davis and clean up the glass and get alley-oops and get easy dunks because that's not who he ever really was. So they basically turned him to Ryan Anderson. So I think surrounding LeBron with a lot of bigs who know their role and some shooters, that's kind of the key to getting the best product, at least at this stage of his career. Also, the last reason why I feel like this Lakers team may just be the best team LeBron has played on, and I heard Kevin McHale and Grant Hill talking about this yesterday. This Lakers team kind of feels like it has the least amount of pressure, at least in comparison to his other teams. I'm definitely not saying this team doesn't have pressure because obviously at this stage of his career, it's championship or bust. LeBron can't get to the Western Conference Finals and pat himself on the back because that's not what the Lakers fans want. I'm just saying, if you look at it in comparison to the 2011 Heat or the 2016 Cavaliers, it's way less pressure. I mean, when I look at LeBron's Cavaliers team, the first go around, obviously it was all the pressure in the world to win the first championship. So that was that. It was like, if he couldn't win the first championship, he may go down like Charles Barkley or Steve Nash or all these other players that never won an NBA championship. When he went to Miami, all the pressure fell on his shoulders, and I mean all of it, especially when he lost that championship, because it was like, dude, if you went to a big three and you still can't bring a championship in, I mean, they was going to crucify this man's career. Then his last go around in Cleveland, when he went back, he kind of had to make up for what he left, never bringing a championship to his home, state and all that stuff. So that was pressure. And when you have all that pressure on a player, it's not just the player that feels the pressure. I mean, all these other players that's on the team, they feel like they're damn near playing for their legacy as well, because if you don't perform, I mean, you're going to get a lot of the blame. So it was a lot of pressure and a lot of tenseness on those other teams. If you look at this Lakers team, they have Danny Green, who's a two-time NBA champion, Rondo's a champion, Quinn Cook's a champion, JaVale McGee's a champion, Dwight Howard is a 16-year vet, so they're seasoned. And then they have Jason Kidd, Frank Vogel. They have all these voices and all this. It's not that much pressure because the team really isn't that young. It's more of a seasoned team, and it just feels like a little bit less pressure. So for all those reasons I just named, I'm not saying this team is the most talented, and if they're the best team, that goes to be proven, obviously, so we will have to see. But I feel like as far as the fit, this may be LeBron's best fit of his career. And I would like to hear what you guys got to say in the comments. If you guys like the video, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Follow me on all my social media sites. Do all that great stuff, guys, and until next time, as always, stay tuned.